The View is back from their summer break, but don't worry, they're just as dumb as always and haven't learned a thing. And today, of course, they're going to be very upset about Donald Trump's crackdown on crime in Chicago. But before we get to these clips, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
Let's be real. Let's be real. This isn't about sanctuary cities. This isn't about rounding up rough, bad people. This is about y'all being pissed off about something. Because if this was about rounding up people who were bad for the country, you all would be doing a totally different kind of job.
So I also think you can't separate the politics from this. The midterms are coming. I think Trump has had this benefit of having control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. And what he's trying to do, and I'd caution Democrats, he's trying to goad them into saying there is no problem with crime in this whole country. He wants people to take this stand.
We know better than that.
I know, but I think we've had this cycle where Democrats can downplay an issue, the border and some crime in cities, and then Trump swoops in and overcorrects in the most massive way. I've never supported having troops in American cities. It doesn't make sense. It's not the way to police the streets. But Chicago, for example, over Labor Day weekend, 8 people were murdered and 25 plus people were hit with stray bullets. That deserves a response. It deserves a law enforcement response. It should be in coordination with the federal government. It should be the state and local officials that should lead it. Yeah. But he has this way of speaking to people's anxieties. And when they feel like they're not safe in their communities, regardless of what the macro stats say, he taps into that. It's the grievance politics that got him elected.
Authoritarians do that. This is nothing new around the world. When they become autocrats,
but
they start with
some of it is
crime.
legitimate. Like, you can't dismiss that.
Stuff. Why are you sending in ICE?
Because they want to round up immigrants. They want to conflate crime and immigration. They want to terrorize vulnerable communities. And J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, had a very strong response to this. And one of the lines that stuck with me was, authoritarians thrive on your silence. Right. Be loud for America. Yeah. Now, what does that mean? That means that when you see human rights violations, when you see civil rights violations, when you see masked men dragging people through the streets and beating people's dashboards in and windows in, film it. Amplify the truth so America can see what is happening in our streets. It also means do not get violent. Do not play into the hands of Donald Trump and his minions. They want a confrontation. Be smart, be truthful. And Chicago was out in the streets this weekend. Chicago was out there protesting.
People should know that the National Guard, it costs us, taxpayers, $1 million a day to have them there.
And you see what they're doing?
They're picking up trash. They're picking up litter. That is not why I think our members of the armed forces join to serve. They don't join to serve to police citizens. They join to serve to protect our country from outside forces, right? So that in and of itself is a problem. The other thing is, I completely agree with you, Alyssa. I agree with you, Joy. There's a crime problem in this country. Yes, it's gone down. Yes, people are afraid. We want to address crime issues. I'm a former prosecutor. Yeah, I don't like crime. I think we need to do a much better job, but not necessarily militarizing the police. Let's aid the police. Let's send people that have mental health training so that we can help people that are emotionally disturbed. Let's have people that are doctors that can help with mental health. Again, let's also do something about affordable housing because we know that people can't live. Let's help. Why can't we use some of that $1 million to feed people? Because people are hungry.
How can these ladies say so much and yet say so little? Let's go ahead and go back to the beginning where Whoopi Goldberg is saying this isn't really about sanctuary cities and trying to protect the nation, because if it was, you'd be doing something else. And I have to say, no, we'd be doing exactly this, because the sanctuary cities refuse to cooperate with ICE and the federal government. And so we have no other choice other than to send the federal government in to go ahead and round up the illegal immigrants. That's exactly what all this is about. Essentially, it's a law and order issue, and Alyssa Farah-Griffin actually brings up a pretty good point. Donald Trump has the ability to make the Democrats take the wrong side of pretty much every single issue. He says crime is high, illegal immigration is a problem, and then what do the Democrats do? They turn around and say, no, it's not. This is the best thing ever for America. There is no crime whatsoever. The cities are safer than they've ever been. All right, and of course, they talk about the statistics and how crime is actually going down. And we've talked about this in the past, how many states states actually don't properly report information to the new FBI system, so many crimes actually get unreported. Then, of course, you have the fact that a lot of the blue states are out there changing crimes from felonies to misdemeanors. Then, of course, you have the refusal to prosecute criminals in a lot of these blue states and cities. So yes, a lot of these crime stats are actually being manipulated just to make them look lower. But the Democrats, of course, are going to come out and say, hey, it's not an issue whatsoever, even though you and I can actually see, yeah, there is a crazy, violent lawlessness that is sweeping the nation simply because criminals are allowed to do and act however they want. But I also want to point out that Ana Navarro, in her statement, was referring to all of the people being rounded up as being immigrants. No, Anna, they're illegal immigrants, and many of them are violent. Many of them have criminal records. That's how we know about them in the first place. But speaking of violence, Ana Navarro is, of course, encouraging everyone to go out there and protest, but please don't make it violent. Now, why in the world do you think Ana Navarro felt it was necessary to make that plea? Oh, because the left actually has a history and a record on video of being incredibly violent in their peaceful protests. So of course it had to be said. Otherwise, you might be looking at the possible firebombing of federal buildings once again like they did in Oregon. But Sunny Hostin really takes the cake. She comes out there and says, hey, we have to actually give more aid to the police. Yeah, this coming from the party that tried to defund the police. Okay, but of course, what's her idea of aid? Oh, it's getting mental health professionals to go out there with the police to maybe try to stabilize some situations or something. You have to ask yourself, Sonny, what's the purpose of the police? It's to go out there and stop bad guys. It's not to intervene with a mental health crisis. It's to stop bad guys. All that stuff that you're referring to would be something after the fact that you can do. The police are not there to fight the mental health crisis. The police are there to stop bad guys and make the public safe by enforcing our laws, which is basically the only way you're going to cut back on crime in this nation. But of course, according to Sunny Hostin also, oh, if only we had more affordable housing, if only we actually fed people, right? If we got rid of those two problems, then everything else in America would be totally fine. Yeah, how is affordable housing going to stop career criminals from going out there and robbing and stealing and assaulting and murdering people in the street, right? It's not going to happen because in many of these instances, the very same people committing these crimes are already living off the government dole, as we saw in New York City, where the illegal immigrants were out there assaulting police. And what were they getting? Oh, free room and board and checks every month. And as far as the starving people go, has she never heard of food stamps? Has she never heard of free and reduced lunch? Has she never heard of unemployment benefits? Has she never heard of 3 Square? We do more to take care of feeding people in this country than any other nation in the world. And how do we know this? Because we're facing an obesity epidemic, right? That's the exact opposite of starving people in the streets. But I wouldn't expect the ladies on The View to understand that enforcing laws is the only way to lower crime, the same way that personal responsibility is the only way to improve the lives of the people in this nation. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.